right, Coach, we're about a minute away and we'll get you framed up here. All right, Coach, I think we're ready. Are you ready for us?
Yeah, fire away.
All right, we'll start first with Vahe Gregorian. Go ahead, Vahe.
Good morning, Andy.
All right, Vahe.
Hey, I just thinking back a little bit to what Steve Spagnuolo has been able to do for you, and I know it seems like a little while ago now, but can you just remind us what it was, or share what it was that made you really think of him at that point, and the attributes that he was going to bring to you?
Yeah, well, I've known Steve forever, and he's been a phenomenal coach in this league. So whether it was defensively or the head coaching stint that he had. So I think the world of him as a person, but likewise, I respect him like crazy as a coach. So it was really a no-brainer at that point to bring him in.
We'll go next to Nancy Armour. Go ahead, Nancy.
Morning, Andy.
Hi, Nancy.
You've talked a lot about Patrick and how impressed you've been with his maturity. And I'm wondering, if you could kind of forecast and look out, 15, 20 years, what kind of influence he can have, not just on the NFL, but overall, given what he's already doing in terms of social justice, investing in the Kansas City community. Could you see him reaching a level like LeBron in terms of just influence and impact overall?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he's got a way about him where he understands people, and they are interested in things that he has to say or back and believe in. So I think that presents yourself with a good combination to whatever platform that you want to support or take, that you have that ability.
We'll go next to Neil Reynolds. Go ahead, Neil.
Hey, Coach. It's Neil from Sky Sports in the UK.
Yes, Neil.
You hear a lot of your current players and former players saying you play with Andy Reid, not for Andy Reid. And I wonder if that's a big thing for you, and if you could maybe talk about some of your approaches and philosophies as a coach.
Yeah, sure. So I think we all want to be treated a certain way, and if not, I know how I like to be treated, and that's tell me what I need to do to get better at what I'm trying to get accomplished. And so you don't necessarily have to yell and scream at me to get me to do something better. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily the best approach. And then I think after a little while, I know myself, I just would turn that person off and probably not listen to anything they said. So I kind of go about it that way. I just say, listen, I'm try to treat people the way I'd want to be treated. And I think whether it's through what I've learned in church or family, I think we're here as teachers, and that's what I do. So that's how I look at myself, as a teacher, and of, in my case, men, young men, and whether it's on the field or off the field, if I can give them any experience to help them that I might have had to help them become better players or husbands, whatever it might be, fathers, I try to do that.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, good morning, Andy. I wanted to ask about Darrell Williams. You guys have brought in a lot of backs the last couple of years, but Darrell's still around, and you're turning to him in some big moments. I know there were some injuries also. What is it about Darrell? Can you kind of sum him up? What you like about him, particularly in these big moments?
Yeah, that was the only thing that was really holding Darrell back, was just being able to stay healthy consistently. And he spent so much time rehabbing this past off season, got himself in a great shape, caught a couple breaks. I mean, what you need. I mean, he's always worked hard. It's just he got nicked up. So he was able to, for the most part, stay injury free. And he put together this season, and it's not over yet. He's got one more game left here, but he sure has had a good season to this point. And I would tell you, Adam, that he's really a smart football player. So you see him produce on the field, but we all have confidence in him, whether it's third down blitz protection, whether it's blocking for another back, or you've seen him block for Tyreek at times, whether it's out catching a pass. He just has a real feel for it, and very instinctive, and likewise very smart.
We'll go next to Diana Rossini. Go, Diana. All right, Diana, we'll come right back to you. Let's go to Therese Paler. Go, Therese.
Hey, Coach Reid, how you doing this morning?
Good. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks.
Hey, I was just wondering what has Le'Veon Bell brought to you guys? I know there's been a little injuries here, but how's he been handling his role here? And what kind of impact could you see him making in a week?
Yeah, I really like him. I like him as a kid, and I like him as a player. He brings that veteran experience. He's been the best in the business at what he's done. He's handled this role well. He loves to play. And he got a little bit nicked up. He's working through that. And, he gave us, a few good games in there where we really needed him. And I go back to the New Orleans game and kind of putting the icing on the cake there with his run and so on. So there have been some real good production from him at important times during our season.
We'll go next to John Kirk with the Toronto Sun. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Andy.
Okay.
The last 10 Super Bowl winning head coaches have been ages 65, 50, 62, 62, 54, 64, 50, 66, and 65s. And this year will be either 66 or 68, other than the jokes about not being spring chickens. But doesn't that speak to the fact that to succeed in the NFL as a head coach, you've really got to adapt with the times, because football changes as far as schematically more than probably every other sport. Every year, you've really got to be on top of that type of and have that mindset. I was just wondering if you could speak to that.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite 66 yet, but I appreciate you advancing me just a little bit. I'm still part of the Geritol crew, though, and we are a little bit older, and there is experience that comes with that, and I guess they say wisdom with age comes, that comes with it. But there are a lot of good young football coaches out there, and that I look forward to seeing continue to grow in this business. I mean, we're lucky to have them in the National Football League, and by chance, we're a few of the older guys have gotten to this point, and I'd probably attribute that to good players and then a little bit of experience there. And in my case, I'm fortunate to have a heck of a staff, that I've been able to accumulate here and gather for the last couple of years. So it's we've been very productive that way.
We'll go next to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. How you doing?
Good, Sam. Thanks.
I wanted to ask you about your offensive coordinator. how have you seen, there's been a lot of questions already this week. How have you seen him handle sort of the frustration of not being picked? And you've been very outspoken about your support and what you think of him in forums like this, but is there anything you can or have been doing sort of behind the scenes to, promote him or find out what's going on?
Yeah, well, I'll probably have more time to do that. The find out part later here. So once we get through this game, but I did have an opportunity to talk to a lot of the either owners or general managers that worked to interview them, presidents, so on. So I'll be curious to hear their comments about how he did, or whatever. Why he wasn't picked. But Eric Bieniemy works his tail off, and he is relentless in studying the game. He's relentless in studying what would be his plan as a head football coach. This guy doesn't miss a beat, and he was that way as a player. He's been that way as a coach, whether it was coaching the running backs or now working the offense as a whole as a coordinator. So I don't understand everything. I'm not an owner. I don't sit in those meetings to interview head coaches, but I would just tell you that whoever gets him, whenever they get him, will be very, very lucky.
We'll go next to Brooke Pryor. Go ahead, Brooke.
Hey, Andy, good to see you. You and Bruce Arians have both assembled fairly diverse staffs, and his includes 2 women. I'm wondering, with the women on his staff and the women on staffs across the league, could you envision a time in the future where there are women on every staff? And have you come across any women you would consider adding at coaching clinics or just in things across the league?
Yeah, listen, Brooke, I keep an open mind on all that. I had a mother that was a physician at a time when that was not very common. So, I mean, she was in that man's world, as you'd say, and working it every day for 30, 40 years, whatever it was that she worked. And so I saw her accomplishments, lived them. And yeah, I mean, I think it's open forum. We have women in our training room and that do a phenomenal job. And so I'm always open to anything that makes you better. Yeah.
Let's try to go back to Diana Rossini. Go ahead, Diana.
All right, I think we can do it. Good morning.
Hi, Diana.
Andy, I got 2 quick ones for you. You mentioned, yeah, I got you. You mentioned that, you are a teacher of men. And when I hear the word teacher, it just reminds me of, my days in school. And the best teachers I had were always really hard on me and pushed. Have you ever had to have a difficult conversation with Patrick Mahomes to push him more? What's perhaps maybe the hardest you've ever had to coach him?
Yeah. So listen, what I do is I communicate. And I think if you tell the person the truth, whether it's a positive with their personality or play, or a negative with their personality or play, I think you keep that open in an open forum. It's no different than how you'd raise a child or a marriage or any relationship with another human being. I think communication becomes important. Once you stop that, now you get into the whole philosophical things of do I have to scream and holler? Does that to get across to this whatever that next step is. But I think if you just keep it open and real, I think that's the best way to roll with it. That's how I feel. And so that's how I've been with Patrick. So I'd never have to, I know he wants to be great, just like these guys. I'm in a business where these guys want to be the best. That's what they want to do. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to embarrass themselves or family. They don't want to do that. That's just not what they want to do. And then they want, the thing I found with great players, they want you to give them one more thing so they can even be greater. And that's the way I approach it. Right or wrong, that's how I approach it.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
All right, that's Patrick coming on podium 9 in a minute here.